Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Ayla.
So we just wanted. Oh, are we ready? Felt like I was talking over you. Oh, we need to mute someone. So we wanted to welcome everyone to our AMA. I'm Isla, the community manager, and then we have Bartek, who's our marketing and experience design executive. And then we have Marcy, and he's the financial systems developer and surfer. And so we're just gonna go and finish up the AMA questions that we didn't finish over in that channel. Oh, my cats are meowing.
Cat's okay?
Never.
Yeah, okay. So I think that, first of all, thank you very much, Ayla, for the introduction. It's super exciting, and I'm super happy to have everyone here, such a large group, some new faces, some of the, let's call it the regulars, taking into account that this is the second time we have it. First of all, let's start from the most important thing. So, happy birthday to Bart, who actually had birthday yesterday. Yay! We just kind of saw the announcement, so super happy to have you with us. So as Ayla said, today we want to continue answering the questions from the previous AMAs. I think at a certain moment we're going to run out of the questions kind of that have been pre-asked, and we can kind of do it a bit more dynamically, and we'll see. Maybe today we have a little bit more time as well to do that. I would like to start with a couple of, we would like to start with a couple of announcements actually. First one is about the new website, which we knew that you were going to notice at a certain moment in time, but unfortunately it was almost impossible for us to kind of time it exactly so that it kind of, it arrives at the beginning of the AMA. But I hope that you have been able to see that. If no, you can go to alóki.io and see the new version that we have launched just today. We really try to, adapt the website so that it actually right now becomes kind of like linking point about between two things, the gaming side and the sustainability side, because this project is actually connecting a lot of that. Sorry to stop writing me questions because you're disrupting my flow. So basically, what we're doing is kind of, we wanted to put this kind of, different gaming spirit into it to have it a bit more dynamic, but also, to slowly guide you into the game world as such. Yeah, because, the previous version was much more focused on the sustainability and the farm. And right now, we try to mix those two dimensions together. What also is quite important for us is going to appear most likely in a couple of days is we will have a dedicated section on the updates, which will be quite important for us for two reasons. First of all, there's lots of things that are going to happen in the coming weeks, both in terms of the gameplay, but also, physically on the farm as well. So we would like to keep you up to date. And the separate site, let's say, or separate subpage for Alóki Sanctuary actually gives us a space as well to, give a little bit more space to address the, I think, number one challenge that we have within our project is kind of something that, Ayla keeps on repeating to us over and over. Is guys, we have people don't believe in this project because it seems too good to be true. So we're going to be coming up with, a lot of different information and content in order to showcase to the people that this is basically, that it's real, yeah. And of course, on the website, what you can see as well is the space for whitelisting process for Alóki regions that we have launched right now. And a couple of words about it in a second. But just, before, I would like to thank you, thanks for the whole team who actually worked on the website really, really hard for the last couple of weeks, especially to Igor, who have been up like, super late, basically trying to make every small thing happen. And even though this is, let's say, only the beginning of what we're going to be building for you. Some of you noticed already an first Alóki region that we're sharing with you. So this super cool girl, which kind of, we fell in love immediately the moment that we saw her. And I think it was Purple Onion that shared like a couple of days ago this kind of, ears on Discord. And, by complete coincidence, this is exactly like the same design. But, I hope that you like her. We like her, and we actually like, the remaining 9,999 of them that are coming quite soon in the coming weeks. The process of creating them have been slightly bumpy. We can tell you a little bit about it because we unfortunately needed to switch the artists twice. We had an amazing artist at the very beginning from Lebanon, and she was from Jordan, from Jordan. And she was extremely talented. She did an amazing work for us, but she had like an injury on her wrist and was unable to draw for quite some time. Then we needed to change to another one, and finally we ended up with the best artist that we could find, meaning Ola, who is actually an art director for the whole game, which is great because then it kind of, Ola managed to have a little bit of freedom. But it also unfortunately had like one small downside, that we will need to postpone the launch of the avatars for a couple of weeks. Like, it's not going to be much. Like, we were supposed to launch at the 30th of September. We're going to launch in October. But we just kind of want to polish everything and, make all the details come true. And we also want to co-create this collection together with you. So we are going to prepare a lot of things where, we're going to kind of be sourcing some of the information from you in order to create the Alóki region collection that you deserve. But what's actually even more important, at least kind of from my perspective, in the NFTs is not the art, but the utility itself. So as you have seen, or maybe you haven't seen, like, I think we have like the most complex utility collection out there right now, or maybe there's someone else, but the way that I looked, like, this is the most complex one. So we have a number of benefits always, in the digital world and in the actual world as well. So we are going to be planting one tree for every single NFT sold. We are going to have financial contributions to one of the tribes that lives in the area of Sanctuary. We are going to be allocating part of the funds to already started construction of the buildings that you will be able to use in the Alóki Sanctuary. We hope to start this construction still this year. And we have a number of different benefits for those focused on investment, meaning that you are basically going to have access to the game, to staking and liquidity pools a little bit earlier. I know that there were some questions already. We will most likely answer them during next AMA, but what it will, this earlier access will mean that you will also be able to withdraw your funds a little bit sooner. What is important, those benefits are actually for every single person who will have an NFT. Yeah, so this is for 10,000 of people who are actually going to purchase the initial collection. There are also going to be benefits in game, the dedicated gameplay. You will only with those region. You will be able to craft specific items within the game. So these are going to be exclusive items that you'll be able to trade with the community. You are going to have a dedicated chakras gameplay, which is going to allow you to really form and shape the region in the direction that you would like it to develop. And what is quite important is that we're going to also have a dedicated content, especially for the region owners. And we have a number of experts lined up. I think we're going to give you a preview in a couple of weeks with Colette, who is a member of our team, who does amazing. She has amazing knowledge in terms of all the different things that happen in terms of medicine and plant medicines and so on and so on. But I think also the exciting utility, and I know I'm talking a bit too much, sorry Maurice, is that from these region owners, we are going to have a raffle in order for some of you to join us in Costa Rica for a trip together with Alóki team, and we're super excited about it. Yeah, so that's it for the avatars. I mean, I hope that you like the art. I hope that you like the utilities as much as we do. We think that this is quite unique, and it kind of represents the project's spirit that we have designed. Moritz, you want to add something maybe, or no?
No, I think you covered it all. I maybe I'm super excited about the avatars. As Bartek mentioned, it was a bumpy process, and in the end, I'm glad that finally Ola, she had some time to work on them. She's our art director, and she's extremely busy with other parts of the project. But yeah, she was able to pull it off, and it's amazing. I love them, and can't wait to share more.
So in the coming days, we'll I don't know whether we make a separate AMA on that or not, but we can share the whole process of the whitelisting, how it's going to work, like what are going to be the different phases. But the whitelisting process itself is relatively simple. We use Gleam, and you basically sign up with your wallet address. You subscribe to Twitter, Discord, retweet tweet that we have created. Watch a small movie and so on and so on. So basically, it's a number of things that you can create relatively quickly that will allow us also to build the momentum. Part of the Alóki region NFTs, so the kind of after doing all that for the whitelisting, you will have a possibility to get an Alóki region. If we have more than a couple of thousand people for these spots, there is going to be a raffle organized. But what is important is that we're going to have a dedicated pool of regions for the community contest on with, let's say, a number of things that we have planned. And the good news for those of you who have already been able to reach level 10 and become a trailblazers, you will get the Alóki region NFT for free when we actually mint them, and you're going to receive it in the first priority list together with selected influencers that we're going to be working with and the team members. We have a couple of scenarios in terms of the whole, let's say, minting process and the mint costs, because this was also the question from the last meeting. We do not want to share it yet because honestly, like, it's still a couple of weeks before we actually get to the direction that we want to observe the market and see how it looks like. The way that we are building it, we are going to have a little bit of a flexibility, and we would like these to have this kind of sweet spot of not setting the bar too high so that no one can afford it, but on the other hand, also for it to be a tangible benefit for those who have actually kind of engaged and received the NFT collection, the region collection. So that covers, let's say, the first question. I'll do like a couple of quick ones, and then I think Moritz is going to kind of take most of the part of the AMA. But there was also a question about the timeline of the trees withering and whether we take into account that people have time that people actually spend some time outside of a Loki game, outside of the the metaverse and crypto world. And yes, don't worry, we do not want to kill the trees that you're going to be owning. The way that it's going to work is that they will be kind of like temporarily suspended until you will kind of come back and go to them. So your yields are going to minimize or kind of almost be zero, but basically you will be able to get back in shape. And that, of course, that approach of not letting the trees die is also going to be approach of that we take for the actual trees that we're going to be planting. Yeah? So this is, of course, quite obvious. There was also a question whether from Chips and Salsa, whether we will be able to travel around the virtual land with our avatars, and can we explore other people's plots, lands, or just our own? So basically here this is a tough question because I always try to balance between managing expectations and just trying to basically get you excited. But the guy that we're working with is, I would bet, one of the best guys on the market globally, who have actually created the virtual world of Cyberpunk 2077, which is an amazing, city consisting of different kind of districts and variations. And we're working together with him on creating the 3D model based on the 3D scan of the 750 acres that we have scanned before. But what we also don't want to do is we do not want to right now spend 3 years in terms of creating this wonderful 3D model. Of course, we're going to do a little bit faster, but we would like to give you the possibility to try to have a feeling of the land a little bit sooner. So we're going to split the implementation of the map in 2 phases. First one is going to be a bit more simple, where you're going to be able to explore the land, but not kind of like virtually, run on it and so on and so on. And the kind of, running and the whole exploration, this is something that we would like to have as a second stage of the project. Good thing is that the 3D model that we have, it's actually super compatible with Unity game engine. So from that perspective, importing that into the game is relatively straightforward. However, it will require a lot of also kind of manual work and algorithms in order to kind of to make sure that this actually looks super beautiful and it's according to our expectations. So we're going to cut the story short. We're going to divide it in 2 parts. One is going to be a bit more simplified, but we will have a possibility to do a little bit of the exploration, and the second one is exactly the phase that we're looking. However, again, like managing expectations, they have built the city of Cyberpunk, with a couple of 100 people in a couple of years. So we're going to be looking to certain, scenario where we do not have to spend that much time and effort doing that. There was also a question from Pedro if the gameplay is designed to grind as much as you want, and basically yes. So this is the way that we're designing. We have people working on the whole economic model to make sure that basically it doesn't collapse. And what is important for us is that you will always be able to level up in 3 different ways. One, level up by gameplay, and this is going to be primary focus on developing the gameplay and the mechanics. Secondly, by luck. And last but not least, you will be able to help your support by, purchasing different boosts and so on and so on. But what's important, you will not be able to pay to win this game. So it's not like you kind of come in with the whole lots of money. You basically can go all the way up. We will always require quite a big level of gameplay and engagement for you, because this is ultimately the community that we want to have. Chips and Salsa also asked about the mobile devices, and I think there was someone else. So yes, this is planned, but we are going to launch it a little bit later on. Yeah, so the Unity version that we're working on is actually allowing us to have relatively quick implementation on mobile. But for us, desktop right now is a priority in terms of delivering that quite fast.
Okay, so we had a question from Pedro, and he was asking if people from the team have been investing or invested in play-to-earn games. I mean, first of all, I would say most of the team are gamers, and of course not everybody invested in crypto games and play-to-earn games, but I would say at least half maybe of the team, and I invested quite a lot. I was a super early investor in Illuvium. I think I got in around $40 last year. I think it was like maybe April, something like that. And then yeah, I still have some tokens. I own some NFT lands in Illuvium. But to be honest, I haven't been following lately. I'm so busy with Alóki and just doing things for this project that I don't really know what's going on with Illuvium. And of course, I was a super early investor in DFK. I missed the Gen Zero mint by I think 1 day or 2 days, and but still, I consider myself quite early investor. And it's kind of the same story, I still own some Jewel, I have some NFTs, heroes, but I just don't have time, to even like summon new heroes and so on. So yeah, and I know a couple other guys from the team, they've been investing in DFK as well, and some of them in Illuvium. So yeah, we definitely tasted the Kool-Aid, and it tasted both sweet and bitter, but I hope our will be more sweet. And yeah, maybe next one, I think you can take it, Bartek.
So there was a question from Vasish. I see that you can own a piece of land in Costa Rica in the future, but the thing is, can we sell it or trade it? And the kind of relatively short answer is yes. The whole idea is to link the land ownership with the NFT ownership, but that unfortunately is super complicated setup. I don't think anyone did it in the world, or at least there's no super easy copy paste frameworks. That's why we're working with the best legal offices here in Central America, but actually not only, in order to make the whole setup work. Like we talked a little bit about it in the last AMA, so I will maybe not go in details, but that's definitely, that's the whole idea, for you to be able to own the land, but also relatively easily sell it and basically trade it up like almost every single day. Vasish also asked about gameplay. When is it going to go live, and when are we going to give some like trailers and teasers? So I guess we've already started. that's the answer. We already shared a little bit of sneak peek for the jungle guide who's going to be welcoming you into Alóki land. And we're definitely going to do that more and more in the coming weeks. It is still within our plan, and basically, we're still on track in terms of launching the first functionalities of the games in October. So this is not changing. And in 2 weeks' time, Martyna, who is our head of game from CD Projekt, she is basically going to show you definitely a little bit more to kind of, and also give you a possibility to ask more questions about it.
All right, so then we have some cool questions from Set Potato, and the question is, if Alóki becomes a success, are you considering expanding, like not just in Costa Rica, but in other countries as well? I mean, yeah, 100%. Like from the beginning, we knew this project, we were designing this project to be scalable, and already by now we have people asking if we would like to do it in different locations in Costa Rica, and of course also outside of Costa Rica. There were some people, I think from Africa, asking if we could do it over there, and yeah, that's for sure something we're gonna be planning to do in the future. For now, we have hands full of just this location in Costa Rica, which is a huge location. It's 300 hectares. I mean, maybe not everyone even can grasp how big it is, but it's huge. And actually, this kind of connects with the second question, and it's what's the minimum and maximum size of the land?
I just interrupt, kind of, and sorry, Potato, this is a really badly asked question, because the question should not be like kind of if Alóki becomes a success, but when it becomes a success. Like, come on.
Of course. So yeah, the next question was, what's the minimum and maximum size of land an investor can own? So as I mentioned, it's a huge property, 300 hectares. And so we are right now in the stage of master planning the whole 300 hectares. And it takes a while, I mean, just flying it with the drones and LiDAR, it was like, I think, over 2 weeks, So now, like, going into detail and planning, organizing where it's going to be what, and, dividing the property into, like, small neighborhoods and so on. So, I mean, it's super fun process, but it takes time. And I think it also will make more sense to you once we have AMA with Studio Saxe and Ben Saxe and his team, and they're gonna tell you a little more about the design we're gonna be using there, and the type of architecture, and but kind of to give you some answer right now, I think for sure we're gonna have bigger lots. I would say 5,000, 7,000 square meters, where people are going to be able to build, beautiful big houses, maybe couple stories houses and so on. And we're going to have some smaller lots, I would say from 500 square meters to 1,000 square meters, where people are going to be able to build wooden houses, simple wooden houses, tree houses, tree pods, and so on. Yeah. So yeah, I hope. I hope sooner we can answer. We can get more into detail with this question, and I cannot wait. And the next question was from Vashi. Will we have some kind of passive income? I mean, yeah, of course. There are so many ways, and for sure you're gonna have passive income from carbon credits, profit sharing from retreats and workshops we're gonna be doing over there. Also, we're gonna have in-house R&B kind of R&B Airbnb platform, and where you can rent your house to other Alóki members. And I think what's the most important is that the value of land in Costa Rica goes up every year. I mean, like seriously, I've been here 5 years, and since the beginning, every year I was like, okay, there's no way it's gonna get more expensive here, and they surprise me every year. So I mean, it seems like Costa Rica is the location where everybody wants to be right now, and the value goes up, but also the value of the land will go up because of the Alóki project. So I think there's going to be lots of value and extra profits coming just from owning NFT of a land. Yeah.
So Vasyush, you asked also a question about can we expect any VC investment anytime soon? So the short answer for anytime soon is no, because basically right now at this moment we don't need funds. Yeah, like we have funding to, like we were discussing in the last AMA, like we have funds basically to grow the project for the next 10 to 12 months relatively comfortably. So we're not really looking actively at this moment. Yep. The fact is that we are getting a lot of requests and questions about it. That's why, for instance, on the new website, like we launched like a small section. I think it's like becoming an investor and something like that, just to organize the process a little bit and basically start to have those discussions. But we have quite a lot of people basically asking us to join us. But my personal experience with the VCs, and I have been kind of connected very strongly in terms of with the startup world for quite some time, is that VCs have their pros, but they also have their cons. Yeah, and honestly, our approach is to be really careful in terms of building that relationship, because what we want to do is we want to if we want a partner, if we will end up looking for a partner, we want to have someone who shares our vision and is going to stay with us for long term. Yeah. And also, if you think about it, like today is not kind of, or at least kind of this market situation is not really a good moment for on the market and for us as well to be looking for a VC right now. Yeah, like the valuation would be really bad and basically it doesn't make much sense. So it's not something cross off the list completely, but I don't think it's going to happen anyway anytime soon, to be honest.
All right. Okay, the next one is from Set Potato. With so many scam projects right now, would the team be able to show proof of ownership of the 300 hectares land you own in Costa Rica? So yeah, 100%. And as you guys know, we have this new website on, and most likely I would say within a week, we should have all the docs in the sanctuary section on the website. And then a question from Nemka. Is there a possibility to get...
Can I just add a couple of things, Maurice, here? Because like Maurice said, what we want to do is also, give you as much information as we can. And, Maurice just kind of plans to give you like the most recent, the outtake from the registry so that you see that this is all kind of up to date. What we said during the previous AMA that the legal setup that we have is not 100% final, so this is not going to be a final legal entity because we will need to kind of build the legal setup before we sell the land NFTs. We're going to probably restructure that a little bit in order to allow this kind of long-term lease, but we definitely want to share the materials with you. But it also kind of touches here on quite an important thing is that in general, as I said before, like one of the struggles is for us to kind of try to, I don't know, persuade, but kind of, explain or show that this project is real. Yeah, it's not some bullshit thing that we come up with, but this is actually something that is quite big and it is materializing, and that's why in the coming, weeks, months, we want to kind of intensify producing a number of different materials or just kind of, content in order to show you that, this is a real thing that we're building. And, one of the things that we're going to share with you on some AMA is that we actually have recently installed a couple of cameras on Alóki Sanctuary. So at certain AMA, we'll just kind of, plug into that, so we're able to just kind of, show you around and do like a small virtual tour. Or maybe during some AMA, Mauricio is just going to kind of, go outside and show you around. Yeah, but unfortunately, the Wi-Fi only kind of gets like a little bit outside of the casita that we have over there. So.
All right. So, is there a possibility to get Costa Rican citizenship as a land holder? So, there's actually two ways to become a resident of Costa Rica. One way is to invest $200,000 in a property in Costa Rica, and this way you can get an investor visa. And another way is basically proving to the migration office that you have enough funds for your family or for yourself to be living here and not looking for a job in Costa Rica. And I think right now it's $5,000 a month. So basically you have to prove that you have a source of income in amount of $5,000 or for the whole family or just for yourself if you are single. Yeah.
And then we have a question from Ajax. Are there any plans to protect the user's land if their NFT is stolen or hacked? And the answer to that is definitely yes. One of the reasons, or kind of one of our relative principles when working, we always try to prepare for, the worst case scenario. Yeah, and that's why we try to really approach that from the number of different perspectives. And I think here, like, both myself and Mauricio, like we also have, like, Mauricio is super creative in terms of coming up, what are the different things that can go wrong. And I'm always assuming that things are going to be kind of wrong all the time, like in terms of, that someone's going to get, I don't know, like kind of going to have like holidays, or it's going to kind of be hit by the bus, etc., and so on and so on. And what are we going to do in that perspective? And that's why every single thing that we design, we try to make it as future-proof as possible. Of course, that always will have a limit, yeah. Like, kind of, I think that every project does have, a small fuck up from the moment, screw up, sorry, kind of from time to time. We are working super strong to minimize it. But in terms of the land ownership, like this is, of course, one of the most important things that we have on the table, yeah. And again, this is one of the principles on which we're building our legal setup and basically the whole infrastructure in order to have the contingency planning and have this possibility to actually own the land and to try to find this sweet spot between you being able to, trade the land NFTs and the land associated with it relatively freely, but on the other hand, to have this kind of like a safety trigger so that we're able to kind of resolve any issues and conflicts, because this is of course something that is super important. Yeah. Again, we are going to go to the phase of selling the land NFTs most likely in the second quarter of next year, maybe first quarter. So we think that there's still, let's say, a little bit of a time. However, with that respect, we're actually super advanced. Yeah. So this is like, I'm not really worried about it because we have the whole solution designed. We just need to we're actually right now finalizing the agreements with the lawyer and actually kind of dividing up the work between the different legal teams. And once we do that, we are going to kind of, give them a green light in terms of drafting all the legal documents. And What is of course important for us is that once we actually draft them, we are going to be able to publish them so that you are also have a possibility to maybe weigh in on it and see if this kind of fits your expectations, if this is something that is safe, secure, like any sort of way that we can bulletproof this is going to be helpful. So if you can kind of open source it, that I think it's a good idea. But of course, we need a little bit more time in order to prepare it. But again, we do have a little bit more time on this one.
Okay, so next one was from Baran, and will you sign any type of contract that states the lease will turn into ownership when the regulation is allowed, or maybe renewal of lease agreement for another 99 years? So, I spent lots of time in different communities here in Costa Rica, and I would say majority of the communities here, they have this long-term lease system, and normally I think it's 99 years, and then of course it just extends to your family, like if to your kids and so on, your grandkids, and we didn't want to go full ownership because then legally we wouldn't have the option of the DAO control of the project. If we had just bunch of like individual lots with titles, then we couldn't have this like organized system, of controlling the rules and what we really want to do with the land. So our approach from the beginning was to have it more in condominium style, and yeah, with this long-term lease system. But and of course, besides just owning the NFT, which is already form of ownership, you're gonna be able, to have a written contract prepared by the legal department. And the next question from Exma Alliance: how you wish to use the land to make the investment for people with modern twist to have a positive impact? So, I mean, I would say that the whole Alóki concept is quite modern, and for sure, I mean, at least for me, like working with Studio Sax and knowing Ben's skill set is it's a great way to just to mix the nature, the culture, and the modern architecture. I mean, I really looking forward to this AMA with Ben and him presenting our architectural plans. But I mean, it's amazing, and we run our farm in quite modern way. Of course, it's all about going back to the roots and using ways that have been used for hundreds of years. But there's this modern approach to everything we are doing there. And of course, on top of that, we get lots of cool ideas. I had a meeting with one of Ben employees, with Fred, who is the main designer. And we went to the highest point of the farm, which is around 600 meters. And it's a beautiful place with 360 views. And Fred was like, hey, how about we put a tower over here, and in the tower we could have a jacuzzi, so people can go there and sit in jacuzzi and have this like 360 view with mountain, ocean view, sunset, and everything. So there's like, and so we already like started to think like, okay, how could we do it, and so on. Where we would get the power from? Okay, solar panels, and then the water. Okay, we get this like ram pump, So there's lots of really cool ideas, and of course, like using solar panels and water turbines, and yeah, the list just goes on. And the next question, also from Exmalion.
Maybe we can kind of add here a little bit more, because I think this is still basically the way that we are approaching that is we actually enter right now this phase of the master planning, like Mauricio said, in terms of figuring out exactly kind of how do we want to divide the land, what kind of structures do we want to build on it. But in general, in terms of using this as a kind of a kind of good investment for the people, I think that just to highlight you a little bit, like if you would like Ben to build you a house in Costa Rica and you kind of approach his studio, like you will have to wait a couple of years, basically for him to actually,
I
take up
think
his.
it's actually 4 years waiting list right now.
Yeah. So, Ben, so this is kind of, we are super excited to be working with him and to have Ben as a partner and kind of, have him as well, kind of, sharing the whole vision about, linking digital world and the sustainability and linking the architecture with nature. And we think that, whatever we create, and right now we have this preliminary vision of this kind of village of villages, where, we could have a different smaller community spread around the system, the estate. I mean, this is going to be a massively attractive concept. And I think that what you have also seen in someone posted an article is that Costa Rica is becoming more and more crypto friendly. And this is something that if it goes through, and apparently the new government is super crypto friendly, this could mean that basically, the regulations concerning both crypto purchases and NFT are actually going to be kind of boosted really, really significantly. So from that perspective, this would give us a massive positive boost as well for the project as such. And we really have accumulated a top team working with that. So we also are working with several people who are also in touch with the government officials, and we're looking in terms of, to understand better every single regulation that is going to come up and see how this could apply to Alóki. And I think with a project like that, this is a massive project, and this is a project that's going to make a stand. This is a project that it is going to be, a big scale thing. And I know that it's sometimes hard to believe when we have 27 people on the AMA and kind of, still a relatively small community. But it is, every project has to start from that moment, and I think that, it's a super exciting time to be able to be here at the very beginning and to be able to shape that, And I think that the shaping part is really, really exciting as well, because honestly, right now, we are still at the stage where we're kind of this ideation, where we do not kill any idea as such. We're just kind of trying to approach it with an open mind and trying to figure out. And even though the ideas are, crazy, they're at this moment, none of them is super unrealistic. We're not we could build a 360 jacuzzi. It's a matter of, a little bit of a problem solving and engineering. Yes, we have, like Mauricio said, we have power, we have water sources. That's not an issue. We have Alexandra. She's already kind of started to build an internal campaign for us to build a small helipad for electric airplane, which is probably the most crazy idea so far. But who knows? Basically, if we come up with some sort of model that this could be a commercial service as well, or maybe something that would be available for selected owners, why not? We also, some of you picked up also on the news that I think Mauricio shared that as well, that, medical marijuana is going to be legal quite soon in Costa Rica as well. And, we just happen to have a lot of land, so, it's not something that is completely off the list, So I think that there are so many directions in which we can kind of build this project together. And as we were saying before, one of the biggest challenges for us is to keep focus, in terms of building the core, of what we have promised so far. But what is going to be extremely important is also what other great things kind of we can do in order for this project to materialize in the form and shape that is super exciting for everyone, and the opportunities are super massive. However, too good to be true it sounds, we will do our best to make it work together with you.
Okay, so the next question was, are the people tending the farm local, and are they being paid well? I personally don't want to be investing in another firm that barely pays their employees enough to live while investors get all the profits. If I wanted that, I'd be in the stock market. So yeah, right now we have about 10 employees, and it's a tricky thing, because when I started with my employees, I wanted to pay them more than the average salary in Costa Rica. And you know, like I kind of thought that everybody will be approaching, you know, the project like I am, you know, super excited and, you know, oh my gosh, we're doing this organic farm and so on. But in the end, like I would say more than half of employees who come, they just come to work. They don't really care like what we are doing over there. And of course, I'm talking about field workers. So they were coming. I had to do like all the papers with my accountant and hire them. And then very often, like within a month, they would be quitting and so on. So basically, now we have this new system where employees who've been with us for a longer time, they make much more. But the new ones who are coming for the first, I think now it's either 3 or 4 months, they're just getting the basic average salary, you know, and once they show us that, okay, we are really in and we want to stay with you guys, then we are raising the salaries and they're making more money. But yeah, you know, it's, I mean, there's a couple of guys who've been with us, I would say one is like probably almost 3 years, and there's another one who's been like 2 years. And I mean, they're making almost double what's the minimum salary here in Costa Rica for this type of work. So yeah, we're definitely taking of our employees, and we want them to stay, you know. Um, I think I'm gonna maybe share something like we are having this guy Chris Trump coming in. You can guys Google him. He is this, I would say, farmer celebrity, and he is practicing Korean natural farming, which is like the creme de la creme of farming. And this guy, he's very known, you know, worldwide, and he decided to come and join the project for 3 months. So he's going to be in the sanctuary for 3 months, teaching people the way he's doing it, and so I really care, you know, that my employees stay as long as possible, because like, you know, he's gonna stay there, train them for 3 months, and I don't want them to leave. So yeah, definitely, you know, like we are also paying them more, and you know, to make sure that besides, you know, liking the project, they're being treated well. Yeah.
I think it's also kind of important to say that, of course, the kind of we want long term, we 100% want people, you know, to be treated fairly, etc. But on the other hand, like we also, you know, this is a hard work, and we also want to have this kind of balance that, you know, we are actually, you know, we want people to work and kind of contribute to development of the sanctuary, which, you know, in some of the neighbors, like, you know, it doesn't work kind of so well, like, so it's spoiling the market a little bit. Yeah, so this is exactly something that Maurice said is kind of, you know, ultimately what we want to do is, you know, have the hard workers and really reward them well so that they start, but so that they stay, but, you know, the work is still done, is done to the high top quality, because it is a massive landmass, and, you know, it does require a lot of care. Yeah, it does require a lot of taking care of, and one of the jobs of Chris is going to be to really try to restructure and retool the whole sanctuary, and especially the farming bits, in the way that the maintenance is the need for maintenance is relatively minimized. Yeah, so it is going to be quite an interesting journey for us to observe. And what we also talked to Chris about is that Chris is going to create for us dedicated content for all the social media channels. And starting September, I think, like, kind of, you know, we don't have an exact date. It's either going to be like 3rd or 5th of September that he's coming over. Like, you know, we are going to kind of introduce him to you, and he's going to produce some of the content, really kind of explaining and showing his approach, but also, you know, the way that the farm looks like, and his approach to Korean natural farming, which is really, really fascinating.
Yeah,
And we're actually
still talking about Chris. I think what's worth mentioning, you know, that together with Chris, we're gonna have Daniel over there, who is, you know, who is the guy who's helping out here in the project, and also we're gonna be inviting different people from all around the world, from influencers to maybe people from community, to spend time with Chris and see what's going on over there.
So we also have a question from X Malines in terms of as the program grows, which I believe anything with a vision is positive will. Thank you. How will we incentivize more investors to come in and want to be part of the community? So this is actually a super good question, and I really like it because it touches something that has been really like on the base of the way that we approach this project. Because as Maurice said, we observed or kind of were involved in many of different crypto projects where basically, if you look, especially like the token price, the way that it looks, it's always kind of then it goes up with the hype, and then it very quickly goes down as well, and kind of touches the bottom as such. And this thinking was actually, this was when we saw these kinds of charts, this was like exactly like we said, okay, one of the things that we do not want is this. Yeah, like we do not want to have something that blows up completely and then basically goes down. What we want to have is, the stable path growing over time. And this is how basically we structured every single bit of the project. So for us, if you look at our roadmap in terms of the delivery, we could actually kind of be implementing new functionalities in terms of the gaming part as such for the next 12 to, I think, 16 to 18 months, basically nonstop. Yeah, if we kind of spread it out regularly. But then, we start with right now with the region collection. We're going to have a spirits collection, which is basically almost done as well. Then we're going to launch trees, which is going to be, a separate gameplay allowing basically, everyone to enter without any financial investment, without buying NFTs, because the tree you will actually get for free. And then we will, develop all the different bits of the gameplay for spirits, for the trees, and introduce the land as well, which is also going to have, several different stages of development. This will actually ensure that the whole project keeps on growing really steadily throughout the next 12 to 18 months or so, and then we can think about, or we're actually thinking about launching all the different versions of the metaverse experience so that it actually kind of becomes even stronger in terms of the virtual experiences that we provide. But what happens at the same time, and as we were telling at the previous AMA, at the same time, basically still this year, what we want to do is build up the physical structure. So, we basically have two projects that are running at the same time. We have, the gaming metaverse project, and we actually have you could say that this is a real estate project that is, running simultaneously at the same time. So from that perspective, when you think about it, you are actually have a very strong roadmap in basically making this project really attractive and scalable in the next, whatever, couple of years. And even further then, because what we talked about is, this is like a copy-paste solution that you can have to, to share with a lot of sorry, I got distracted by a Discord notification. Basically something that we can, later on transplant into other different locations. Yeah. But I think that, so there's a roadmap, but what is also really important for us is always about delivery. Yeah, it's really have this high on the agenda in terms of keeping our promises about, the gameplay, about really delivering all the functionalities and trying to make sure that what we promise we actually deliver. I think we're going to see like a minor changes right now with the avatar launch being, just kind of moved a couple of weeks, because this is, the opening thing that this will cause some of the things to move a couple of weeks back. But basically, apart from that, like we're super safe in terms of the timeline and the feasibility to kind of deploy all the different things. Because from my perspective, ultimately, what's going to make sure that this project is delivering this value to investors in the long term is actually the strong team behind that. And we have put a lot of effort in terms of getting the best people on the market for basically every single aspect of the project. We are slowly starting to scale the team, and that's why my messages about some content creators, etc. You can see sometimes on Discord, and we'll be slowly kind of building in kind of new skill sets of people in the teams. But it's also about how do we organize the people with around the project in order for the whole thing to deliver. Yeah? And this is personally my big passion. Like this is what I did for the last 17 years, is basically take a group of more or less random competent people and organize them in order for around the big project to deliver great things. Yeah, and I have done that with teams of 4,000 people, with 700 people, or with 30 people. Yeah, and basically the way that we're building Alóki is from the very beginning thinking about what kind of organization do we want to build, yeah? What kind of mindset do we want to have when we communicate internally, when we build certain processes, and how do we build it in the way that it actually is scalable in the future? And in the way that we have set it up, like, the scalability it's a relatively easy thing because we planned it from the very beginning to be a big thing. Unfortunately, the downside of it is that it takes us a little bit of time to basically sometimes, get things organized, deliver, and, make these all decisions. But ultimately, it is going to be a massive project, right, delivering value long term. And you could see it from the quality of the team. As I said, we're having Ben, we're having Maurizio, we're having, Martina, Ayla here, and, a number of different people are basically, contributing a lot of their heart and effort into making this work. One of the biggest challenges right now is kind of like I said before that, this is, making the decisions, but there's also something that we need to tackle as a temporary basis is this kind of barrier, which is understandable that, that this is too good to be true. Yeah, this is just one more scam. And so, any kind of ideas that you might have for us to make this more believable to a certain extent, like we're super open to be sharing a lot of things. So, I hope to cooperate with you on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would like to add something to this, because for me, I did this project. I know people from this team, so it's like I don't even think about it in terms, okay, it's a scam. But I mean, like, I think it's good to look at the team. When you, for example, look at Ben, Sachs, a guy who's like worldwide known architect, and he's kind of like even like celebrity architect here in Costa Rica. Like, I mean, he's putting his name in this project. And then, we have our lawyer who used to be head of IRS in Costa Rica. So, I mean, there's people who are super serious people, and it's like, yeah, they're in this project. They're spreading their name, and there's like, we know already that the government is quite interested in this project. Costa Rica wants to become country that's more known of crypto and NFTs. And actually they would like Alóki to be a flag project for the country, So, I mean, there's like lots of buzz already, and we are just starting, and yeah.
So, so a lot of things, lots of things are happening. Again, like kind of we're super excited with all these different kind of opportunities that open up to us. We'll see how they materialize, yeah, in terms of this cooperation with the government, etc. Like, this is not something that we want to push super strongly, but again, if there's an interest in it and help the project, then why not, yeah. So important thing for us is keep on building, yeah, keep on going one step at a time, and just basically sticking with the vision that we have for the projects. And we're super excited that you're here with us, and hopefully we'll be able to build the whole thing together. I think now Ayla wanted to say a couple of words as well.
Oh, did I? Just kidding. Just wanted to say thanks everybody for joining our second AMA, and we're super excited for you guys to check out our new website. That was pretty, well, Chips mentioned that he had found out about it already earlier, and I was super excited about that. And we still have those Trailblazer whitelist spots that are available, the airdrops. So get on that, and I'm going to be making a community contest for stickers and emojis. So Bard, there's your answer for 1 stickers. That's coming up this week. And we'll be having more game nights. That is my community whatever summary.
Awesome. Oh, see you. I think see you next week. Next week we're going to have, as requested by you, developers team. But here I do have a little bit of a question. I will definitely follow up on that during the week. But when we actually kind of had this Wednesday discussions with the technical team, I told him, okay, guys, the time has come for you to join AMA and talk to the community. But then we kind of, there were like these, I don't know, like 15 people just kind of asking, like, what, all of us? And then it was, so we need to make sure, like, we get the right people in, because I don't think it would make sense to have, the whole group just basically kind of coming in. So I know that maybe, we can do the AMAs differently, but if you are able to just kind of ask us, what kind of areas you would like us to tell about from the development point of view, from the IT point of view, we'll be able to get the right people on board. Yeah, because otherwise we wouldn't want to kind of, use people resources to be there and just kind of, wave their hands and just kind of show their faces. Yeah, however fun that might be. So we'll be coming back, and in 2 weeks, Martina is going to do an update on the game development, which I think is going to be quite exciting. Unfortunately, she will not be able to join next week because she had a holiday planned, but that's it. So thank you once again. It was a massive pleasure. Thank you, Ayla, for hosting, and thank you, Echo, again for going forward with that and answering all these questions together. It's a pleasure as always.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.